So, Katja, how do companies perceive their competency recognition framework processes?
Are you just trying to sound smart now?
Hello, everyone, and welcome to yet another episode of Tech Break with us at TD Synnex. My name is Alexander Pontikis. I'm the go-to-market lead for Microsoft at TD Synnex. Usually on this show, we talk deep about technology. This time, we will be more highlighting how technology can be a supporting function for us as human beings, more for employees. So today's show, I'm delighted to have from Microsoft, Katja Hannu. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
I believe this is not your first time on Tech Break.
No. Well, I used to work at TD Synnex, so we used to do these episodes in Swedish. So this is my first time as a guest and also a first time in English. So a bit nervous, but I hope I'll manage.
Sure we will. We are delighted to have you. So tell us a little bit about your role at Microsoft.
Yeah.
What do you do there?
I work as a sales specialist for Modern Work. So I work with healthcare, both with private healthcare companies and also public sector.
So we have been, as you might, we were alluding to in the beginning of the episode, we will be talking about employee experience, and we are curious to learn more about your employee experience platform, Microsoft VIVA. But going back a little bit, there has been a lot of discussions, and of course, there has been a great storytelling about the post-pandemic effects, and hybrid work is here to stay.
Yeah.
Could you tell us a little bit how this new hybrid setting, going from being in the office more Monday to Friday, 9 to 5, as more going into being at the office perhaps 1 to 3 days a week, how this hybrid kind of setting has affected us as employees? What is your perception around that?
Of course. Yeah, well, we do these surveys yearly. That's called Work Trend Index. And we do this worldwide. And what we can see in these surveys are like what's important to me as an employee. It's not anymore so much about just having a high salary. It's also about other values like positive culture, wanting to have mental health and well-being, and also feeling a sense of purpose. And if we look at both like Swedish surveys that they do, we also see that a lot of employees want to have a leader that can support them, that can help you in your development, in your learning, and also, of course, having a flexible way of working. So a lot of people feel that if they are not allowed to work from home or have this flexible way of work that we all have been used to right now, then you might not even want to stay at that employer. You might seek somewhere else.
Which means that, of course, the organization has a kind of responsibility retaining employees, of course, as before. But would you also assume that it affects how you act as a manager, in the sense that you need to foster learning, and how will this affect the manager, this new hybrid setting?
Yeah, well, of course. I mean, I think it becomes more and more complex to be a manager or a leader. And also, if your team is not around, you don't meet them every day, you still need to, first of all, trust them that they will do their job. And also, how can you be a good leader? How can you support them and give the guidance or support and pushing them in the right direction and everything that you need to do? And how can you do that? And what tools can you have that supports you to actually be a better leader?
So we are working at home more and more. So, of course, at our company, we were also affected by the pandemic, seeing ourselves working at home and not having the travel time made me try to be as, try to fit in as many, let's say, meetings or tasks per day. So I'm kind of alluding to and I've seen that there are some recent studies about how this could foster, more pressure and potentially burnout.
Yeah.
What's Microsoft's take on this? If we can just go into that a little bit.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I mean, I totally agree with you. When I didn't travel at all to customers, I felt like I could fit in so much in my calendar, and I spent my day sitting like back-to-back meetings and almost didn't have time for lunch all of a sudden. So it's really easy to fall into burnout or don't have time to do other tasks that you actually need to do that you don't book time for. So you really get overwhelmed and swamped with tasks. And I don't know if you have seen that, but in Microsoft 365, you have these personal insights. You probably get an email weekly.
Yeah. I think it's these on that.
Yeah, exactly. So, and these are insights on your behaviors, and it's designed to help you prevent bad habits or not healthy habits. So if you have maybe a lot of back-to-back meetings or maybe meetings that overlap each other, you can get suggestions like, do you want to book some focus time? And then you actually get some suggestions on here you have a slot, do you want to book them? And it's really easy to just click on the suggestions that you want, so you don't have to spend time in your calendar and find the time yourself. And also you can get insights like what's your learning or tasks or meeting behaviors. So you get more help to understand your own way of work, and
exactly.
and also help to maybe improve and get better habits.
So that was actually one of the first things I noticed. The fantastic thing as we were going into discussing about Viva was that all of a sudden it was there in my Outlook. It was in my Microsoft 365. So I noticed exactly that scheduling thing. So if you try to schedule an hour meeting, it suggests you to shorten it to 45 minutes.
Yeah.
So we're kind of alluding and talking about how does this enhance productivity, but also I noticed the function of, let's say, you're getting caught as you're about to send away an email. As you know, time flies when you work at home, and suddenly it's past 5 p.m. and a little notification shows up, and would you like to send this at the recipient working hours?
At 8 a.m.
So exactly. Which also comes to think about, so this kind of systems, as this employee experience platform is. So all of a sudden it was deployed by IT, but it serves a lot of the values and a lot of the questions, and of course a lot of the employee experience are questions that are driven by HR. What is the relationship between HR and IT? I mean, if you look at an organization, they're worlds apart, but now through this system, they have some sort of common ground to discuss. So what's Microsoft's perception of HR and IT related questions?
Yeah, well, HR has always been around the employee experience, and it's not just when you hire someone, it's the onboarding, development and learning and well-being. I mean, and when you look at HR today, you need to select a tool that helps you do this digitally. So you have to have a tool that drives growth, that if you invest in productivity, that this will help you also drive business performance. And if you look at challenges HR might have, they have a lot of they have a lot on their plate, attracting top talent, motivating people to do their best if they are struggling with maybe outdated data or tools that don't communicate with each other. So what we see with the Viva platform is how can Viva help HR and managers and employees to have a better work-life experience.
So there are different motivational factors for employees today. As you were stating a little bit in the beginning, there's more values than just salary and other perks like that. We can see, for instance, how we can be driven by more skilling and learning and also developing as a professional person, if you will.
Yeah.
How does Viva jack into that?
Yeah, well, as we talked about the Viva Insights, the personal insights, we also have a module for the manager or leadership insights. So this helps you to be a better manager. So you can see on a team level what kind of behavior do we have? Do you see any signs of burnout, or maybe we have a lot of meetings, or people seem to be working a lot of time, evenings or weekends. Maybe we need to have some day that is a day that we say, hey, let's not have meetings this day because you need to catch up on other tasks and emails and stuff like that. So it wouldn't mean that you wouldn't work, but you would have time to, just to, let's say, on a Friday, you would have time to catch up, make sure that you're prepped, and then you can have your weekend afterwards. So if you see these habits or within your team, you get a lot of insights and suggestions for how to prevent burnout or have better meeting habits and things like that.
And also that you have the learning tracking capabilities of Viva, if you will, which I would suspect helps not only the employee to have a proactive management of when it comes to training and development, but would you also suggest that it's a help for the manager to having skilling and training as a let's say an ongoing subject in the one-to-one meetings, for instance, between the employee and the manager?
If you look at the Work Trend Index survey that I talked about earlier, we see that 76% of employees stay longer if they have learning and development possibilities. And also they feel that 61% feel that they would be more engaged in their learning if it would be easier to access it. So if it would be easier to have in your line of work, so in teams where you're spending most of the time of your day. So when you add Viva Learning in Teams, I as an employee can see all of my upcoming training. I don't have to go somewhere else. I can see when the due date is. I can add it to my calendar, so I actually book time and don't have to, because it's easy to forget them. And also I can see the progress, how long it might take to do the training. And I also can find a lot of not mandatory training. And this is something that we actually saw at Microsoft when we started to use Viva Learning. The amounts of not required training went way higher than before, because it's so much easier to find something that's related to your work or something that you might feel that you need to have better skilling in. So, and I can take myself as an example. I had maybe 50 different courses when I started at Microsoft for a 6-month period. And I mean, some of them I already knew. I didn't feel like I learned because it was something that I already had knowledge in. And then there's some topics that I felt like, okay, this is something that I would need to dig dig in more in, or this will be helpful for me. And it was so easy to find learning connected to my role, and actually do other courses that really helped me. And I don't think that if I wouldn't have had that easy view over something that was suggested to me, I probably wouldn't have done that.
That's very interesting. As we are beginning to touch upon the subject about integration, about the importance of having the relevant information in the tools that you work with every day.
Yeah.
So we interact with each other through Teams. Viva can be integrated in Teams, which means that we can have a better overview of our personal skilling. And that is very, very important, because I can talk from my experience as not working with Viva Learning as of yet. So we started with Insights, at least in my organization. I can definitely see well, not a problem, but how really integrating systems can really bring awareness forward, instead of having that in a separate system.
Yeah, and of course you spend all of this time finding it. I mean, finding, okay, where was it an email, or was it in a team chat, or where did they say that we were supposed to do this training? Do I get, so you save a lot of time.
Yeah.
And of course, then we have the functions for management or leadership to be able to track learning, see the progress, also suggest learning to your employees. You can also do these tabs in Teams that you actually do a collection of learning. Yeah. And you can easily also share in chats or Teams suggestions of learning to maybe a new employee or a colleague.
Absolutely. I mean, again, having it in a separate system, and I think, I will go on camera and say this. I've missed a lot of trainings, mandatory trainings, due to that it's in a separate system, not integrated in Teams. So there you have it, dear audience. Opening up here.
Yeah.
So this brings me a little bit more to the next question. As you may be aware of the topics that we've had here on TechBait, they have been very focused around technology, infrastructure, workplace management, perhaps mobile device management, and whatnot, around, let's say, the technology infrastructural layer in the delivery from the partner. So now my mind is starting to think about, what do you think the partners can deliver in this? Could, for instance, being highlighting how we can integrate Viva in the workplace delivery as they have today. They have delivered, let's say, Microsoft 365. The end customer is using Teams, and they are mature with Teams. What do we have? What kind of an opening do we have for our dear partner landscape among the CSP partners when it comes to Viva? What can they deliver?
So in Viva Connections, it's the hub or the heart where you put in maybe your intranet. And that would be, if you're a partner that works with SharePoint, you want to have this in Viva Connections. So you will still need to help your customers to do branding and integrate maybe with other systems and third-party tools, and what kind of information the company or the customer needs. So if I am an employee, I want to see easily documents that I work on, be able to talk with others and have a more social intranet, so I can actually talk and discuss around topics. Maybe I'm a new hire and I want to find my learning. I can also find that in the Viva Connections app. And I feel more included and find the apps that I need. It could be, if I'm a frontline worker, that could be maybe my shifts or tasks, or what am I supposed to do when I arrive at my customer.
So partners should be more forthcoming in showing these kind of tools to end customers, because they might not be aware of perhaps as having invested in Microsoft 365 already, they don't know perhaps where to go next with their investment. Maybe Viva could be a kind of a eye opener in that sense.
Yeah, and the customer probably needs help with the integrations and setting everything up, and of course training. So also something that a lot of partners deliver to help the customer to actually use what they have invested in.
Yeah, and also if there are new possibilities for partners, perhaps thinking about processes, thinking about how employees go about their day, how they can be more productive, how they can learn more, and in order for stay in the company. Do you think that this drives, or IT driving this? Or does the partner need to find HR and...
Yeah, I would say that you need to find the right stakeholders at the customer. If you talk to HR, what's important to them? Or is it with communications? Then maybe you would show it's maybe a different group of people at the customer, and you would show more about the engaging parts and communication, how to push out information, and also to in the right channels. And we add so much new stuff in the Viva platform all the time, and I really think that you need to find what's the desired outcome and who is this important to, and that might not be to go to IT and say this is why you need this, because the value or the need is probably someone at HR.
And that's also, that's always the kind of challenge, I would believe, as an IT provider, when you want to provide technology or solutions that's helping the business, right?
Yeah.
Excuse me. So that would mean that we have to, somewhere in the future, see a kind of a shift where perhaps HR have a little bit of budget or a little bit of, let's say, projects in line to implement these systems, or as of IT, more being centered around the infrastructure. Would that, at least in my experience, speaking with other line of businesses like HR or like sales, or and kind of going away from IT, do you think that we will somewhere down the road in the future having more partners being able to talk with other line of businesses like HR? Do you think we are still years to come to
No.
that?
I truly believe that we will, of course.
Right.
And also, if you can go back to the learning parts, something besides the learning courses, I read this article that we spend 7 weeks per year just searching for information or recreating information that someone else already did. So one of the modules that I just love myself is actually Viva Topics. And it uses AI, and it becomes kind of like the Wikipedia of your company. So you can hover over words, and then you get this topic card, and you can learn more about this topic. So this is a way to easily find information or documents, or just to find information way faster than searching for it.
So we are nearing the end of this episode, but I would like to just conclude with, is there a question which you keep getting more often around Viva than others? What would that one be?
Well, besides features and functions and that, I think, working with public sector, of course, it's a lot about privacy and protect privacy. So, and something that often comes up is the personal insights, like, can anyone else see this, and make people maybe nervous, feeling like they are surveilled.
So, right.
And of course, that's not the case. No one else can see your personal insights. It's only you. and the manager or organizational insights, you can never see the person. You need to have a team around 9 people at minimum to use the insights for managers. So you never have to worry about GDPR or privacy questions.
That's a great final note. I feel much more secure and much more excited about Viva. And I believe that this is the beginning of a really interesting journey when it comes to employee experience and how technology could help to support that. And I want to thank you so much for being on the show today, Katja.
Thank you. We have so little time and Viva is so huge. I could talk about this all day.
I think we encapsulated the most. And thank you for checking out this episode of Tech Break, and we hope to see you soon.